Yes, you're on the time to lock in. Thank you guys for coming. I want to give a big welcome to ChefWamp.
What's up? Yeah, I appreciate everybody being here. Well, yeah, so definitely, that's what we're working with. So if you can't see, definitely come closer. And I'm gonna try to turn it up as loud as I can, but I don't know how loud that is, so we'll see. Let's see. I got it right. It's giving me right here, so that's. I don't know if that's as loud as we can go or not. Maybe this. Ah, there we go. Alright. It's not terrible, but either way, it doesn't really. Up to you guys. Alright, cool. Well, yeah. So, yeah, my name's Ethan. I go by ChefWamp. I've been producing for like 6 years now. But basically, like, I was in culinary school like up until the pandemic, and when that I was working in a apprenticeship, so it was like 60, 70 hours a week in the kitchen, and just my whole life was dedicated to that. And when COVID happened, I was just like, what the hell do I do now? And so I saw people like DJing on Twitch and stuff, and I was like, that looks easy. I could do that. I got decks and like started doing it, and within like a month, I was like just like depressed in my parents' basement, DJing by myself. I'm just like, what the hell am I doing? And then I got Ableton and started trying to figure out Ableton and just locked in. And I luckily got like 18 months where I didn't have to work, so I was just 12 hours a day in Ableton, just sucked in. And yeah, just I definitely spent a lot of time in the beginning just like learning the base, like learning Ableton, and trying to figure out what all these buttons do, and because it definitely looks like a fucking Excel spreadsheet. So figuring out how to make it not feel like that is definitely a process, but got there. So yeah, so just I spent a lot of time doing that. Funny story from the beginning is like I spent about a month trying to make my first tune, and then I went to a Subtronics feedback stream, and he like absolutely roasted me. It was so bad. And but like the one thing I took away from it is he was like, "Go try to make 100 shitty songs before you try to make a good song again." And I was like, just I there was probably a good 3 days where I was just like, "What the fuck am I doing? Like, fuck this." And then I was like, "Nah, I can't feel like that." And then I just got to work. And so I started doing this timer beats method, which helps you get faster. So basically, I started with like an hour timer. I would just do like 10 minutes on drums, 10 minutes on bass, 10 minutes like effects, 10 minutes on this, 10 minutes on that. And then eventually, like as you start doing it, you can get it down to like 5 minutes for each section. And so I would just like force myself to do that every day. And then like even if I couldn't do anything else production wise that day, I'd do that. And I did that for like 300 days straight. Um, but then on top of that, I would like be trying to make tunes, but I had to like I kind of got into this process where I was forcing myself to not work on it. Like I would work on it for that one session, then move on, and like so, however long I had in that day, that's how long I worked on it. So if that was 2 hours, I got 2 hours. If it was 10, I got 10. And then the next day, I wasn't opening that tune. I was starting something new, just so I could keep moving. And I feel like that's really important in the beginning because people just get stuck. And I have so many friends that'll just like work on a tune for 40 hours and get nowhere. And I'm just like, dude, you can't be doing that. Like, you gotta keep moving. Um, so yeah, so I did that for a long time, like probably at least a year of just trying to learn. And then I finally like started. So pretty much like I made like the 300-ish timers plus probably 150, 200 tunes, and I just deleted everything and started over. And so then like from when I started over, that's like everything that I have now. So like the first tune I released was the first tune I finished. Like after that, and it kind of just went down that path. And I still like I definitely haven't released everything I've finished or all that. Like some of them aren't finished, but like I definitely have a goal to like finish everything. So I'll go back to stuff I started 4 or 5 years ago and work on it still to this day. And I definitely think that's a good like thing too. Is like when you get into this process of like making a lot of tunes and stuff, like and like trying to move faster, like work on something, forget about it, open it like 6 months later, and like even if there's only like one sound in there that you like and everything else is trash, you can still do something with it and just keep pushing it to that end state. Um, and yeah, so that's like a lot of my approach, and so yeah, so about around 2 years ago, I started a collective with a bunch of my friends called Dub Den, and we basically started with the Discord, and we had around like 30 friends, and we would just like hang out, listen to each other's music, like stream like each other producing and stuff. And then around like 6 months into that, we got a off. I personally got an offer to like start throwing shows at the Black Box. I was like, well, why don't we just do this with Dub Den? And then from there, we started doing shows, and then we started releasing stuff. Like we pivoted from a collective to a record label, and we still kind of maintain the collective energy, but we have the label too and the production company. So it's a whole thing now. But yeah, so we've just been growing that and like trying to expand outside of Denver now, and doing a lot of stuff, and it's overwhelming, but it's rewarding. So, but yeah, so that's kind of me. I guess I kind of said it, but yeah, like I'm like a professionally trained chef, and so like all my music revolves around like it's all my life experience combined into one. But like cooking is definitely like the main thing, but then I like to like I've been skateboarding and snowboarding for like 20 years. So I like to bring all that into it, and I really like comedy and movies and all that kind of stuff. So I just kind of bring it all in there, and um, yeah, it's so I really just like try not to put myself in a box at all. Like I try to keep it very like I can do whatever the hell I want, and it's all gonna be genuinely me. And so, like, I've had people be like, "Oh, like, let's start a collab project or a side project," and I'm always like, "No, like, this is me, 100% me. Anything I do is always gonna be me. So, like, we can collab on a tune, but there's no point in like doing anything beyond that for me personally." And then, yeah, so I definitely encourage you guys to not put yourself in a box. Like, you're the only one holding yourself back if you're like, I make 140, I make this, I make that. Like, that's only you. Everybody else could give two shits. Like, do whatever you want. Um, yeah. So, yeah, that's kind of a lot of like the theory kind of stuff that I use, like, for everything I do pretty much. But yeah, so you guys wanted to learn about some sound design and maybe some mastering. We might get to mastering. We'll see. That's definitely there's a lot more on that topic than than I could ever explain in an hour. But I did do like a master class recently that's on my YouTube, and I'm like I know they were collecting contact and all that, so I'll make sure I get everybody's info, and I have like a whole pack and a bunch of stuff I can send you guys. So we'll make sure we do that. But yeah, so I was on my friends host this podcast called Always or the Producers Lounge, but their company is Always 400. And I was on there a couple weeks ago, and they like to get real nerdy with it and get into like like super deep into like just like stuff you wouldn't normally hear on a podcast. I always find it super cool, so definitely look into that. I'll include that with all the shit too. Um, but yeah, so I was on there and like they just randomly posted this reel the other day that was like a clip from it, and it's like me going in on Phaseplant. I didn't realize like how many people needed that. Like, it's kind of just like if you watch the clip, I'm literally sitting across the table just like barking at him while he's on the laptop.
That's awesome.
And it's like I didn't really like think about it too much until somebody explained it to me. They're like, dude, that's sick. Like, you're just like sitting there and like you're telling them exactly what to do. I'm like, I don't even think of it like that. It's just second nature almost. But yeah, so like I kind of want to just like dive a little bit into that kind of thing for you guys. So um, yeah, like I said before, definitely make sure you can see. Um, this is about as big as I can go. I did have one thing I was going to go into before that. So I use Span a lot, and I was telling Sarah about this actually, like last time I saw her. But so Span, the stock settings, it comes with this slope right here. I hope you can all see that. It's kind of small, but it's set stock at 4.5 on the slope, and so there's gonna be no audio coming out because you don't want to listen to fucking pink noise. But this is what it looks like. So this is pink noise, and it's every frequency at the same volume. But the problem is Span is emphasizing the highs when you have it at the stock settings. So if you change the slope to 3, now it's completely level. And so this is something that a lot of like beginner producers don't know about, and or even like my friends that do this shit all the time, like they don't know about this. And when I go to master for other people, their subs are always too loud because of Span compensating. So like you're trying to get your song level, but your sub is way blasted. And let's see, I can pull in a song so we can look at that. I think that'd be helpful rather than just looking at some pink noise.
Yeah, that's crazy. I'm just now learning about that slope setting, and that's probably been messing me up for like months and months.
Yeah, for real. I'm not a mini meters guy. I definitely have friends that use it, but it's just not for me. Alright, let's see. Jeez. Come on.
Yeah, I use Spain for this, just kind of mastering process,
Let's see. This one will work.
Oh yeah. It's file name.
Yeah, so I definitely have people comment on that a lot. I always like put the key and the BPM and shit in the file name, especially for my own use. I don't really care. I try to change it before I like send it out to people, but it doesn't always happen. So okay, so let me line this up. Okay, let's see. All right. So yeah, it's kind of quiet, but we'll get there. So I'm gonna put this on 4.5 to start. And so it's honestly like pretty balanced when you look at this, but this stuff's kind of sticking out. Well, then if we switch this, I think it'll stay. Yep. So that's kind of more the shape I'm looking for in mastering. But honestly, like I do a lot of my mastering by ear and like using trusted spaces. Like my studio's dialed in. I have a system in my car, and I can test at the black box all the time. So like those kind of things, like, but I think having it like this is good as a starting point. Like, you can at least get an idea, and I always like tell everybody like definitely use reference tracks and get an idea of like what other people's tunes look like as well as sound like, but and then just try to get yours looking similar, and that's always a good starting point. But yeah, so like I guess what I'm trying to show here is like this sub is up here, but then if we switch back, it's lower. So I would think that people are trying to get this sub way up here, and that's why I see it like so commonly where the sub is like way too loud in songs. And I think most of the time it's the slope setting. Obviously, there's other reasons, but yeah. So I just wanted to put that out there, and then let's.
You know why they have a default setting set to that beat whistle?
I have no clue, honestly.
Seems like really
Yeah, I wish I did know so I could, but I'm sure there's some reason because, it's obviously they put a lot of time into developing that, but no, I have no clue. Okay, so let's do some phase plant. So yeah, so this is kind of what we're looking at, and I might make it a little bigger for now while we can. I definitely want to show some stuff in spam, but we don't need that right away. Okay, so I'm just gonna start with the basic sine wave, and so you probably can't hear that because it's all sub. So I'm just gonna I only want polyphony on one. Pretty much everything else is fine. And then I'm just gonna start distorting it. I want it to be fat. And so we're starting to get some harmonics, and then I don't care about DC offset yet. And then we're gonna use Fatuator. So now it's definitely we're getting some harmonics. See, that's on 3. Okay. So yeah, and then so from there, I'm going to I use another plugin that I don't have on here, but it's Ozone Imager, and a lot of people use that for like width or something like that. And like I don't ever touch any of the settings. I usually use it as a visualizer to see my width because I think it's one of the better ones. But obviously, mini meters a lot of people use. You can do the same thing with that. But just like being aware of your width is a good practice. But yeah, so basically, I see a lot of people use Imager and Wider and like a utility and push the width on it. In my opinion, all of those are like usually they're gonna cause bad phasing, and so you don't really want. I personally I do a lot of project masters where like people just send me their Ableton project and I'll like go through it. I'll delete that shit if I see it because it's like I don't want to deal with your phase issues or any of that. And so I commonly use comb filters, and you can also use like delays and stuff. But a comb filter is a type of delay. So actually, let's I'm gonna grab Serum real quick because you can see it. I hope I have it on here. Maybe not. The hell. All right. Well, anyways, Serum. There it has like a good way to show it, but it's basically just a bunch of combs, sticking down into a sound. And so I like to go down towards like 120, 130-ish on this comb filter, put it in stereo, and then so that's like off, it sounds like this, and then with it. And so right now it's just making it louder, but then we like parallel, so bring the mix down. And so now basically, I wish I had imagers so I could show you, but we're adding width, and I guess I can open this, and we're not really messing with the phase at all. So yeah, like when I have it all the way up, it's out of phase, but then as you mix it in, it maintains the phase. Yep. So then from here, like, there's a ton of different cool, like, there's a bunch of different kinds of distortion you can use in here. So I'll just, like, keep going. Like, shaper table is a really fun one. There's a ton of crazy settings in here. Let's see. It's kind of hidden, but I like this beef 2 one a lot. And you can just, like, move this so it's, like, squared up more. I'll turn off DC. And so, like, basically, again, we're just trying to make this really fat. And then we're going to bring this down. Close all this. And then another tool I like to use that adds, like, cool textures and width is convolution reverb. So there's, like, a ton of different impulse responses in here. I tend to use, like, the weird ones, delays, glitches, phase, for this kind of thing. So, like, delays, you're going to get more of, like, a metallic-y sound, especially when you crank the feedback. It's kind of hard to hear, but it's like the tail is, like, pretty metallic on that. And then same thing, just kind of mix it in. But yeah, then so from there, then that's when I start getting into, like, this non-linear filter. This has been, like, my cheat code recently. So I use the warm or the bias modes. And like, for this first one, we'll use a notch. And once you start to crank the Q in the drive, you get this weird shape going. You can play with the cutoff. And so, like, all these parameters you can automate and start getting cool shit out of it. I like the curve, and I'll go put it into notes mode. So, like, this will be 4/16 as a quarter note. I don't like how this works. Like, you have to, like, the numbers here. Like, I wish it was more standardized, but it definitely makes it so you can get some cool rhythms. But I just don't ever use the cool rhythms. So, and then we gotta turn this on to infinite. And so we're literally at a sine wave with a bunch of distortion and some width right now. And so then I'll just add another non-linear filter, and I'll keep this one on the high pass or low pass, and we'll try warm. So this gets a little bit more. It's, like, got a bit more resonance, but it's more of a standardized shape, but we're, like, increasing some harmonics. So then you just get that guy moving again, and same thing, you'll get some wobbles out of it. And then we can make this faster. So then you can, like, attach this cutoff. So, like, we have the cutoff automated, but then if we attach it to this macro, then, like, I can go into Ableton and automate this macro. Let's see. So then, like, we can do shit like this. Like, you can do that in, like, a bar, or you can do, like, where you have it at this setting for a little bit, and then you go to, like, this setting for a while. And like obviously you'll like dial this in as you go, but it's kind of just a good starting point. So yeah, so now from there, like you can keep going in here. So like I'll use another shaper table, and you can keep it on this fold back. Now we're getting loud. So getting darker, and then yeah, so like, and then some of the stuff I would do outside of Phaseplant would be like we can talk about OTT a bit. So when you put a stock OTT, it looks like this, and a lot of people just like boost the time and the output. And so that's just going to emphasize the high frequencies, but you can, so I'll show it, let's see. So I built this rack that just has all the parameters I like mapped, but it has, I'm routed to these, let's see, it's on this one. So there's like ratios in here of the compressor, and as you increase them, it'll make it like, the best way I can describe it is it makes it like thicker because it's a tighter ratio of compression. So like that versus this. So that's like emphasizing the highs more versus this other one is like more full spectrum. And I'll definitely have this rack in the stuff I send you guys, so play with it. Let's see. Some other stuff I do, like I'm a big fan of reverb. I use FabFilter Pro R2. There's a ton of crazy presets in here, but like I use this medium chamber a lot, and just like pretty low amount, like 6%. You probably can't hear it, but it's just giving space. And then yeah, like honestly, you don't have to do a ton. Like you kind of just start dialing in this sound, and once you get something you like, then you just like, I have like a standardized like procedure when I go through stuff, but then like you gotta like, as much as you have a standardized procedure, you also want to leave room for experimentation. So it's kind of, like there's rules, but you should also be breaking rules. So it's kind of like that context, but basically like the best way I can show it, I don't know if I have it on here, but oh yeah, right here. So this is my snare chain, but it's the same process I go through for everything. So this rack is for width. So like first thing I'm addressing in a sound is I want it to be wide. Then next I'm gonna distort it, and then reverb. Usually right before reverb is transient shaping. So like I do some, like I make a decision on, do I want the sound to be transient heavy, or do I want to like roll off that transient? And then I'll EQ it, get all the shit I don't want out of it. And yeah, that's another thing too. So like with this sound, like I don't really care what's going on with this sub because I'm gonna replace it anyways. Like I always put a clean sine wave sub under everything. So like all this, like I'm gonna cut it like here. So I don't really care what's going on down there. And then I also use Soothe a lot. I have a few creative ways to use Soothe. Main one being that I use it to sidechain elements together to get them to sit in the mix. So like, I'm gonna grab my sub. So this sub rack this will also be included in the stuff I send you guys, but it's recordings from my Moog, and they're all like clean sine waves, but they have like a little bit of color on them just because they're from a synthesizer. So yeah, so like that's what I use as the sub for every song I make. So I'm just gonna copy the MIDI from this Phaseplant, and then so we have it at 8th note right now, I think. Yeah. So I just use and actually, so I don't have it on my laptop, but I have a updated version of this rack that has this auto pan that I'm about to build built into it. So like you won't even have to build this; it'll just be knobs in this rack. But okay, so 8th note, and then I want the phase all the way down. So if we turn this up and the phase is at 180, then it's gonna make the left and right do different things. But I don't want that. I just want it to be a volume modulation. So now we're up, down in volume. But then if you look at this, it's going to be hard to see, but it starts at full volume and then goes to silent. And we want the opposite. We want to start the wob all the way down and go up. So you got to use this offset to move everything over. And so the sweet spot I found is 230. And so that it starts it at 0 and goes up. So now this sub, which we're not going to be able to hear, I can put some distortion on it. But now it's like wobbling. And then I don't want it to be 100% like this, where it goes all the way to infinity. So I go for about 60% on this amount. And that's kind of the sweet spot I find. And so now I have that set up. And if I were to just play these together, that's where you kind of start to get muddy because harmonics are layering on top of each other. So that's where Soothe comes in. So I'm going to route this side chain to the sub rack, and then turn on the side chain, turn off that node, and then just pull some nodes over here and make them big. So now it's going to, anytime the sub is playing, it's going to take whatever the sub is using out of the mid. So now they're like perfectly layered together, and it should be perfectly in phase. So the top is off a little bit right now. Let's look at it. But I think like if we just solo the sub, yeah, sub's completely in phase, and then yeah, it's just this sound by itself is like all fucked. I would definitely like be dialing that in more. If I had that ozone imager so I could actually see what the hell's going on. But pretty much I would just, so when you use this width on the utility, you can totally use it to go down. I would never use it to go up because then you're just going to run into phasing issues. But down is good to clean it up. Yeah, so right there we already cleaned up that phase issue. So then we go back here. So yeah. So yeah, that's kind of how I'd layer it together, but I'm going to go back a couple steps, and so I'll turn that off, and I'll turn that off, and I'm going to turn off a bit of this chain just because I want to hear this Phaseplant raw, and so, okay, so now we're back to here. So you take all this time, and like, so I would save this as like a preset. This is like, we're already have a good starting point, but you see we're just at a sine wave right here. We haven't even like got into the cool shit. So one, you can download a ton of wavetables, which I have a bunch, so I'll put that in that folder. But you can open this wavetable editor, and there's so much shit you can do in here. So let's see, can I make this bigger? Yeah, now we're talking. Okay, so in effects here, they have a bunch of shit like disperser, comb filter, distortion. So we'll just start with distortion, right? You distort a sine wave, it becomes a square wave. And so that's drive all the way. Now it's a square wave, 100% mix, but you can play with it. So then we'll start there, and then I'll go to frame 40, and we'll switch it to this and like change a bunch of these settings. So now it's gonna go from 1 to 40, and it's gonna like automate those settings to this point. So it's gonna like, yeah, so there'll be a bunch of different combinations as we go, and then I just go over here and I'll move some other shit. And so like you can just build your own wavetables and like find shit that sounds cool. So like, and this I'm not doing with any rhyme or reason really. I'm just playing. Like I'm kind of looking at the shapes, like okay, that looks cool. Click done, it bakes it in, and then you can kind of see there's some quiet spots here, so you can just like normalize, normalize, normalize. Now we're back to fat. So then we'll like exit this, and now I turn off some of this distortion just so we get more dynamics. We can open this guy up a little bit. And then, so then we can just go back into this wavetable editor, and then let's go comb filter. So then we'll start with it there, and then we'll change some of this. I'm just trying to get like cool, unique shit out of it, and then same thing, normalize. And we can go back to quarter note. Now you can start like playing with this filter, so there's like so many little things you can adjust. We can change the convolver, go to a glitch. I like these glitch ones a lot. And then yeah, with these wavetables you can go forever. There's so many. The disperser is super cool too. And we can try like.
You can automate the wavetable.
Yeah, totally. You can, yeah, so like I can attach this here. Yeah, that's what I love about Phaseplant is like there's so much you can do. Like you can have as many effects as you want. There's no limit. You can have, you can just stack 10 OTTs for the hell of it. You can put as many wavetables as you want in here. You can modulate any parameter pretty much. It's super modular. And yeah, so like we'll just like so we're at quarter notes now, so I'll adjust this to quarters. And then we need to turn this shit on. I wish we were on a fat rig because then you'd be able to hear that, but because yeah, it's a C right now, so it's super low. Let's go up to F. So then, like, okay, this sounds too high. Let's. Yeah, so then, like, let's see, where are we at? 7:30. So I'll go a little bit, like, I'll just make like an 8-bar loop and kind of show, like, so this is my template. I have, it's pretty simple. It's a drum group, a sidechain group, and then I have a trigger, like a ghost trigger for my sidechain. So I'll show you how all that works. But let's bring these guys into the sidechain group. So this group is anything that's not drums, pretty much. And then if I add vocals to a track, that'll be like I'll make a new group. And honestly, I should have that in the template, but I just don't. I didn't do it that way when I built the template. So all that's on here is my sidechain. And I prefer Duck Buddy, and I'll show you how I use it. And then I use G Clip. But I've had a lot of people like tell me like, "Oh, G Clip sucks," and complain about it, blah blah blah. It's because they'll use this gain knob, and when you boost this gain, it sounds like shit. But I I literally just anytime I use this, it's almost always at 98% clip, 2% softness. I'm literally just cutting the peaks off. Like you shouldn't be able to hear it do anything. It's completely transparent. And so then same thing on the drum group is just the G clip, and then my hi-hats, I've just found that I want them -12, but same thing, G clip, and then I turn them down. So then from there, like, we'll go into this. Oh wow, I don't have them in here. That's crazy. So like I'm gonna send you guys my template, and it has like a bunch of shit already built into here. I use the exact same kicks in every single track I've ever made, and it's this one. And so like this right here is like me trying to make the kicks I like, this folder, and then I finally found them, and I literally don't use any other ones. And so it's this kick. Yeah, you probably can't hear it very good, but and then I use auto filter, and it's at 719 and 14. And so yeah, it's pretty like you'll be able to hear it better like on your own. But this is like my main kick, and then this one is like accent. And then yeah, so like I'll just grab a snare that I use commonly just because I know how it works. Let's see. So yeah, I use samplers mainly, and I have this set up so like you can in your user library you can set your defaults over here, and like so anytime you drop a sample on device viewer drum rack, if you put this sampler in there, it'll automatically put your preset there. And like creating tracks, anytime you create a MIDI track, I have it set so it just drops my sampler in there. Um, Definitely handy, and like I just like turn off a bunch of shit that I don't use, and then like yeah, have it pretty set up, and then like the default one has this volume down 12, and then it has the volume to velocity. I don't really use any of that, so I just have it turned off by default. Um, but yeah, so like I'm gonna build my snare chain and just show that. So I use a grain delay. So first thing I'm addressing is width, and so I wish I could show you this with the fucking imager. I failed on that one. Forgot to put it on here. But, oh, we need to solo the snare. Alright. Let's see. So yeah, so this grain delay, I use it, and basically I'm gonna move this node until I find like a little bit different. Like I don't, right now it's linked to frequency and pitch. This is like graph, and you click these to link it. Basically, I don't want to change the pitch too much, but I'm more so playing with this frequency. I'm just trying to find something that sounds similar to the original sound, because I'm gonna group it and make a dry chain, and then turn the, so like it's completely in parallel now, and I'm just like using the grain delay to add width. And then next thing I address is I use a saturator most of the time, and I like this medium curve, and it just adds nice highs, but it turns up the volume, so I always do -2. And yeah, it's hard to hear it, but yeah. And then I use this plugin called Slap that was made by Mr. Bill. And basically, oh, of course. Alright, well, not dealing with that right now. So basically what it's doing is it's replacing your transient. So it's like, a good way to show it is like, so we'll go back to this snare. So you want your snare to have a really snappy transient on it. And so like this is what we're working with here. And like this isn't terrible, but when you like you want a high frequency transient, so like the best way to show it is with like a really snappy hi-hat. That one might work. It looks like it's faded. Let's see. So yes, these are all faded, damn it. Alright, this looks good. So yeah, honestly, it's pretty similar, but basically what that plugin does is it takes another sound and just puts that transient right on top of it. And so it's just replacing the click, and then it has settings where you can like boost the shit out of it. So it just does that, and then of course we're not gonna be able to hear that very good, just because we're listening on a fucking TV. But it is what it is. But yeah. So anyways, and then from there, my preferred transient shaper is called ST4B, and it's a multi-band transient shaper. So you can control all the different, like you have full control of these crossovers and stuff. But basically, like, because I'm not gonna be able to show you totally like hear it wise, I pretty much just boost these around 6, and it gets it to where I want it to be, where that transient's poking out. Definitely like listen to this on your own, and you'll be able to hear it better. Oh. And then from there, reverb. I like Fab Filter stuff. I use, there's a drum one, Drum Room Tight Fat, and it's like a 570 millisecond like decay, and then it's got a little brightness added to it. And then the mix, I'm only going like 5%, just giving it like a natural tail. And then EQ, I just tend to use FabFilter stuff because I have it. But pretty much all this junk down here, just get rid of it. We don't need it. It's just in the way. We can give a little boost to the transient over here. And then I'll use a glue compressor. So when you're dealing with transient heavy sounds, you don't want the glue compressor to affect the transient, so you'll put it all the way up. So then it's a 30 millisecond delay before it does anything. And that just lets the transient go through. And then I'll crank the ratio, and then the release, I'll keep it kind of short, like it's 0.4. And then I'm usually going around -12 on the threshold. Turn the soft clip on. And then if I want to get more body, you can either use the makeup. So basically, like when it's set like this, we're decreasing the body of the sound and letting the transient poke through more. So if I want some of the body to come back, I'll use the makeup. But you can also use this range. And if you bring this way down, it'll do kind of the same thing. And so like if you bring that down and bring this up, then that body will really start to come through. We don't need all that though. And then after I compress, I just grab a G clip. And I don't do this on every sound with the G clip. Just really transient heavy stuff because it's gonna be hard to see. But this sound. It's probably because of the soft clip. Yeah. So it's like it's peaking over this line. So basically, we're just cutting those off. And then I'll just turn it down with the utility because basically I use the clip to zero method, so I'm trying to make every sound as loud as possible, and then I'll turn it down later. So this snare, like generally I gotta go like -5. It might get more as I add more stuff like later in the process, but so then I'll just put a like pretty standard pattern here. Give it a little bit of a swing. So now, like, this is interfering with the Phaseplant. So I'm gonna copy this MIDI to my Ghost channel up here, and so this has a click that I made, and it's 27 milliseconds long. So we're just using that to trigger the sidechain. So I pretty much only want it to like cut for a very short amount of time, and then I have this set up where this depth is influenced by the velocity of this clip. So my main kicks are going to be at 100, which isn't actually 100% because velocity goes to 127. So it's more like 80%. And then my accent kicks will be at 30, which is around 25%. And then we'll have the snares around 50, which is like 40-ish%, something like that. And so it's using this shape, which is this whole box is a quarter note based on this. And so I'm ducking for two 30-second notes, and then it comes back up based on this depth, which is influenced by the velocity, which is never actually at infinity. It's more like on the main kick, it's like -50, and then on the other ones, it's way less. So, like, sometimes I'll have songs where like I want like the sidechain I can tell it's too much, so then I'll just like reduce the length. So now this box is an eighth note, so then these are like 64ths. So I made it twice as tight, and then I can like bring this depth up so it doesn't cut as hard. So like when you listen to that now, you can't really tell that it's like ducking. And then like I'm just gonna add like a simple hi-hat loop just to get the point across. Let's see. Oh. So then, like, kind of like my mastering, like, obviously this is a pretty basic example. Like, there would definitely be some more variation and all those kind of things, but I'm using that clip to zero method. So say like there's a bunch of effects in this sidechain group and stuff. Like, I'm not gonna do a ton of, like, I don't really do anything on this master. I'm just trying to make these sounds as loud as possible, and then so like that sub's way too hot. So then I'll come back over here and turn down this sub. Like, like, I think a lot of people overcomplicate mastering, where it's just like as long as you make loud sounds to begin with, then you can just like balance everything, and then once it's balanced, then it's good. Like, you don't need all this extra shit. And then like I'll see a lot of people doing like put an EQ on the master and like, oh, I need a duck there. Instead of doing that, go to the individual sounds that are causing that problem and fix them at the individual sounds. So that you're not doing it to everything else. And then that's kind of how you start establishing mix hierarchy, is getting certain sounds to be on top of other sounds and that kind of stuff. And I definitely know that's a very basic description. I definitely could go more into that, but we're kind of getting low on time ish. But I also just want to like let you guys ask questions because I feel like I can help more in that way. So. Yeah, give me some questions.
I fully agree with your approach to mastering, just starting off loud and not worrying about game staging, especially for dubstep.
Yeah. And like, yeah, I definitely hear the argument like, well, that works for dubstep, but like, I master any kind of music. Like, I mastered 500-600 songs, like, and it applies to anything. It's just a matter of like setting it up, and like, honestly, it's still gain staging. It's just you're doing it at the individual track levels. Um, so like, for example, like this phase plant, right? I'm like, oh, it's too loud. We'll go -4 here. And I don't like using this, like the mixer volumes over here. I like to keep it all in the track itself so I know where to go when I'm looking for something. Yeah. Anybody got questions? Throw them at me.
What's a non-linear what's it called? Non-linear filter. What does that mean?
So it's like when we look at just it's just like, I don't know if that's exactly like the right term. It's just that's what it's named in Kilohertz software. But basically, when you look at this autofilter, it's just a pretty standardized curve. What's up?
I was just going to explain. Non-linear is basically with the digitized like reverb and stuff like that. They figured out a different way to do reverb and filtering and stuff like that, and that's why it comes out as non-linear. It's basically a non-linear.
Yeah.
It's a weird.
But yeah, so basically, like, rather than this standardized with the standardized slope and all that, like with the autofilter, you can just control the resonance and then you can drive it after. Um, like, I guess, yeah, when you have an autofilter and it's on this clean, you don't have this drive knob. But then I always have it on this PRD. That's a Moog filter. And then you get this drive. Um, but yeah, so then like the non-linear, I just use this because there's all these different settings. So like it has that clean, right? And it's the same thing. Like this Q is a resonance, that it's the exact same thing as this.
It's just a setting.
Yeah, so then you change these settings and you start to find different, like this one. Yeah, the type of non-linearity changes the flavor and color of the distortion. So there's a bunch of different options like this metallic.
Oh. Okay, it's like adding comb or like noise.
Yeah,
or distortion on a linear filter.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
It's a type of coloring. So yeah, like That's what makes like old school synthesizers like worth their money is like they have this color built into their filters and stuff. So this is just like a digital form of that.
Thank you for explaining that. That makes a lot of sense.
So that's just Kilohearts filter.
What's that?
That's just the Kilohearts filter plugin, right?
So this is actually called nonlinear filter.
Oh, okay.
I think it's free. I'm not positive, but I think it's in their free bundle. But yeah, I like when people ask me like, "Yo, I want to get in production. Like, what do I need?" Like, Ableton is what I'll say always, and then Soothe is like my number one used plugin by far. Like the best money I've ever spent on a plugin, and then Phaseplant for or a Kilohertz bundle that comes with Phaseplant and like 70 plugins plus a shit ton of sounds is like $10 a month. Like the best $10 a month I've ever spent for sure. Um, and like honestly, I do believe like if you got those three things, you have everything you could need. Like yeah, I use fab filter stuff, but it's just because I have it. Like you could get away without using it.
Definitely gonna start cutting my stuff like that.
Yeah, I definitely like to layer the clean sub just because I know it's clean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, you said you were gonna put that whole chain with all the like sub presets and put that.
Yeah. So I have it's so this is like a sampler that has multi like sample in it. And so it changes based on whatever note you put, but it's all like sampled directly from my mode. But so basically, like the goal with this is you don't ever have to open this. You can just use these knobs and have a clean sub. And yeah, so like I'll have it in that folder for you guys. It's in there already, but I have an updated version that I can put in there that has this auto pan built into it.
It's so sick. Very generous.
Yeah, happy to help.
And to be better about like saving my presets and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's another thing. Like a good thing to touch on is like a lot of people like I'd have like songs that were like version 27, and like I'd like send it to a feedback stream, and people would be like, "What the fuck?" Like version 20, like who cares?
Yeah.
Like do whatever. And so like my like kind of like method is whenever I like step away from my computer, I save a new version just so I have all these versions I can go back to if I need to. And maybe I never go back to them, but I'd rather have them and not need them. I definitely think organization in general is important so that you know where your shit is when you're looking for it. Like, it'd be easier to show you on my desktop, but like all my songs are numbered. So like, I have a folder that's 2026, and it's one is the first track I started in 2026, and it just goes in that order. And then I know where everything is always. And I think that's super key, especially when you're new. Like, I have tons of friends that'll just save shit in random folders. I'm like, what are you doing, bro? Like, just keep it simple. Like, you don't have to get crazy with it.
Any other questions?
Any process.
Yeah, I
Who
know,
are your
right?
biggest influences?
Ooh. See, so like this question is definitely like evolved for me over the years, cause like I used to be into bigger artists, but like these days, honestly, like my friends are like some of my biggest influences, and um, like my boy Packet Loss is just ridiculous, and like everything he makes is insane. And he'll just like he's on a Mac, and he'll just like text me his whips, and I'm like, what the hell, dude? Like, can't you send me like a SoundCloud link or something? But yeah, and like, but they're just always insane. And then yeah, like honestly, it's just a bunch of people in my collective. My but like, so my partner for dubbed in stuff is Fox, and he's like cracked with sound design, pretty much doing similar to what I'm doing at Phaseplant, but he just like goes the extra mile with it. And then my buddy Whiskers, he makes he makes everything, but he tends to lean towards deeper stuff, like kind of towards the Whittler kind of vein. And yeah, he's just doing crazy shit. And but yeah, like as far as like bigger names, like obviously EPROM was huge for me. Like definitely very influential. And then like as far as other producers, like I really like Joker Sound. I really like Komodo. I'm into that weird shit for sure. Yeah, that's kind of the lane I tend to gravitate towards. It's like, and then I've been getting into a lot of like, so like being at the black box all the time, you start to like get like entrenched into 140. But I'm like kind of like I started making everything, so I had a lot of halftime, a lot of hip hop, like that, and then I like started making dubstep, and then I found some like UKG stuff, and then I got more into dubstep. But lately, I've been on this like 4x4 wave, and it's like a lot of the guys that are inspiring in that lane is like Ago from Numa Crew. He's super sick in that lane. It's like very like reggae dub inspired, but it's just like got a good rhythm. So it's very like it's the best way to describe it is like chiller dubstep with way more kicks. Like the snare's still on the three, but there's a lot more kicks going on in there, and it's just like super groovy. And then like he's kind of like one of the bigger names, but then my buddies like Sudi and Garrett Fields and D8 are like all just like up and comers that are cracked in that lane. So yeah,
Sorry, say those last couple names again.
Sudi, so Sootie, and then Garrett Fields, and then D8. He's from China, and he's crazy.
Yeah, I was gonna say definitely like drop anyone you think we should check out or like you're fucking up right now.
Yeah, for sure. Hell yeah.
We get one more thank you for Chef Wamp.